Hello everyone, Mike Levin, July 31st, 2017. And this is just going to be a quick one this morning because I'm almost at work, I guess, more than halfway. I'm here under the Empire State Building, which you can see right there. The obligatory getting into the shot, right? I'm on one of the most touristy walks here, 34th Street. Then I'll shoot down Park or Madison. And this will be a real quick one because I'm at 10% battery, but it's going back into the office Monday morning. And I'm listening to Partially Derivative, one of my other favorite podcasts. I talk about Michael Kennedy with Talk Python to me all the time. But another podcast that has really wormed its way into my head almost about to the same level is this Partially Derivative. I'll get all their names right eventually, but there's a Vidya, a Chris Albon or Ablon or something like that, and the other one, I'll probably, that's terrible that I forget. But at any rate, it's three data scientists getting drunk talking to each other as they would in a bar. And these points keep coming up that I'm drawing together into a single point that I'd like to make on this video, and then that'll just be it. I'm kind of repositioning myself as a data master. So I'm surveying the landscape in classic form. And what I see is that there's just three kind of misnomers or poorly labeled fields out there. One is math and mathematics. Symbols and algorithms and algebra, another pretty poorly chosen word, are all actually interesting processes in allowing us to express our thoughts, make predictions about behavior in the world, test ideas. And math should be called something more like, fundamental gymnastics, complex word tricks that have symbols put in place of words. So if you like poetry and wordplay, you probably would like math too. So math, programming, once again, expressing yourself. It's a part of, a similar cognitive function as takes place in math, but much more literal, much more do this, do that. And again, I see parallels with writing, be it poetry or prose, but a good programmer, a good coder, whatever you want to call it, is simply expressing themselves well to machines. And the rest is details, whether it's done with a zillion lines of code with Java or, 1,000 lines to accomplish the same exact thing with, say, Python. One or the other is no more or less valid as a language, but the part of what's going on there that lets one person express that concept almost as if thinking and talking naturally is what I'm talking about here. Applying muscle memory to expressing yourself well in a more precise language than the spoken word, to compel machines to do your bidding. Coding, programming, terrible misnomer. So math is the fun mental experiments, thought exercises, imagination, creativity, while programming is expressing yourself in ways that can create repeating patterns that can carry on by themselves for a good long while after you initiate them. Various forms of automation and almost like Saucer's Apprentice motivating the brooms to do your bidding. A lot of the robot stuff there, coding, of course. So three things that were mislabeled, that is, of course, math, programming, and artificial intelligence. I am a sci-fi fan, just as much as the next guy or girl, and I love me my robots, and I love me my accidental consciousness that's created as a ghost in the machine story as much as the next person. But the industry could have had some more service done to it public relations wise by having some term other than artificial intelligence, which very literally states that you're modeling it probably on the prefrontal cortex of a human, which leads a lot of research and a lot of beliefs down the wrong directions. We could be building it up from the very base of the spinal cord and be dealing with extremely simple machine learning automation. How to make a robot walk first, and then put that on subprocessors so that the main brain of your robot doesn't have to deal with simple walking functions. It's dealt with by the lower spinal cord, just like it is in humans and other animals. So all these sub-processing systems that evolve separately with different functions, all of it sort of glued together to achieve some level of, self-determinism, right? At the end of the day, artificial intelligence, well, there's two sides of it, what we're talking about there. On the one side of it is just improving our lives, bringing something, every tool we make is an extension of ourselves in some way or another. So if what we create ends up being monsters and Skynet stuff, shame on us. But it's much more likely that systems will be created that are just capable enough to do some really awesome life-improving things for us. Like the days of Planet of the Apes, when the monkeys were trained to do simple tasks. I think I'll go this way, that still just Fifth Avenue. And so of course all the disaster scenarios at that point come into play by whether those things themselves are net accessible, because the disembodied alien AI that's being created over here could network control thousands or millions of these other types of much more simple limited systems and make them an extension of a virtual body. These are probably the most realistic things to think about. So watch out for those Wi-Fi Roombas. So that's it. End of video. I'll be at the office soon. I just wanted to capture a quick thought. 3 big misnomers or poor labels that do a disservice to people looking to get into these things: math, programming, and artificial intelligence. I love me all 3, but I do not love them in the classical sense that anybody remembers from school. I'm not a rote memorization person. I barely even know my multiplication tables, certainly not in the 11s and 12s like some people learn. And I'm on the fence as to whether I'm going to insist on teaching them to my homeschooled daughter, who is incredibly smart, in my opinion. Of course, everyone thinks that about their own kid. But I want to make sure that she masters the higher level concepts in ways that when she expresses herself well to machines, she can make them do her bidding. So my kid should have all the qualifications necessary to create her own robot army, right? That's my job as a homeschooling dad. She can go into whatever fields of interest she likes. She can be a ballerina, an artist, any one of these things that, could pursue her interests and passions. Not that ballet has set in as one of them, but nonetheless, along those lines. She likes being the ham. She totally could be an actress. That could be in her future. And so I'm going to support whatever direction she chooses for herself in her life, and I will support her. I'll be her secret weapon. Her superpower will be a daddy who's always trying to develop superpowers. And you hear that theme over and over on in the machine learning world, on the homepage of Continuum.io that distributes Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook. They're the great desktop web-based Python installation that I'm always using and talking about. And I plan on being that guy. Print guy, repositioned to webmaster, repositioned to SEO, repositioning to this next evolution, which, I don't quite have the vanity or hubris to call myself data scientist. I will reserve the names that usually have degrees and qualifications going with them for other people who have those degrees. But I will work on the qualifications, so I'll go with master. That's a safe term. Who's going to challenge that, right? Webmaster, data master, jack of all trades angle, and going into work to do one of those projects right now. Make maximum utilization of the limited resources you are given to do high impact projects, to be a high impact player, and to have unavoidable this is what's going well arrows pointing back to you. Practicing with my career and my fatherhood, for that matter, a lot of the same principles that you have to practice in SEO today, because you can't get one over on the increasingly smart machines. You got to be the real deal. You got to walk the walk so you can talk the talk, and have lots of experiments based in real life going on, like these YouTube videos. I expect I'll be at 10,000 subscribers soon. That'll unlock that YouTube creator facility that I'm a second-class citizen right now at only, pushing 7,000 followers. But hey, this will be fun over the next year or so if I hit on the subject matter that you folks seem to be interested in. So stick with me. Here I am. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you again soon, and don't forget to subscribe.